intention, right? And that intention should align with the resolution you had this year. Then you should watch your thoughts that are born from this intention, then the words that will come out because of those thoughts, and then, like a good artist, you choreograph your words so that they can lead you to the action. That is the next one that's going to follow, right? So as we go into one step after the other to achieve our resolution and become perfect in making sure that whatever we desire can be manifested, you need to know these are all one step at a time is going to manifest. If A doesn't manifest B, then B will not exist. If B doesn't manifest C, C will not exist. So it's the one previous to that that will manifest the other one. So I think the take-home message is watch your words, watch it closely, use your words, use them very consciously, okay, and make sure that you feed yourself with good words so that only good words come out from you. Yeah.
Hello, a very good morning to everyone. Now we are live here and back with the fourth episode of the podcast which we are doing for Soul. And under this, today we are going to cover up the topic power of words. And joining here with us is Dr. Rajesh Savera. And today is a special day as it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Rajesh sir.
Thank you so much.
And a good topic as you have mastered the conversations. So on this day, we are going with the power of words.
Yeah.
So we'll directly jump into it and then start with first, which is yesterday you said that there is a difference between communication and conversation. So would you like to tell us what is the difference here?
Yeah. See, when you look at words and the power of words, that's your topic today.
Yeah, doc.
And as we go into the understanding the 8 steps where we can achieve our own perfect self, communication or conversation is a very important part of it. And for that, the ingredient is words. Among all the species that exist on Earth, it's only humans have the ability to converse. The others communicate. You understand?
Okay.
Every bird communicates with another bird. Okay, so communication is more linear. It's not dynamic. It doesn't have a blend of other things of like an intention or something. It's just driven by a very, very straightforward purpose. Like communication is direct. Okay, communication always is between two people. Okay, and or it could be two and more also. Okay, and communication is something that uses a medium like your words. It can use written words or spoken words. It can actually be also through gestures, like person who cannot speak, he can still communicate to somebody else. But conversation is totally different. Conversation is something that you engage with a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions. It's not linear, it's two ways. Okay, I can communicate with you, okay, and you can communicate with me. But conversation I cannot do alone. I definitely need you, I need you to sit down, understand, I need to listen to you. So communication can be one way and you have to just take it like that. It could be an order, but conversation definitely has two.
Yeah, so the both of these two words have communication has commute within it, and conversation has this word converse in it. So do they have some meaning to it?
Yeah, when you commute, you go from here to there. When you want to pass some information from one person to another person, that's communication, right? Now, you look at mobiles. Mobiles are means of communication, right? Because your words travel from a system, a technology, to another person's device, right? Even if you look at the letters that you were writing in the olden days, they were communication. So communication is always, delivering something from you to another person through a medium, right? And conversation is different. Conversation is here, you're sitting down, you're actually throwing an idea, you're having discussions. That's not communication. That's discussions. That's throwing ideas. Being more creative, right? And when conversation is when you converge everybody's ideas and then come to a point where we understand something.
Okay, understood. So it's more of the ripple effect begins with this drop and then it's communicated to all the other waves
Yeah,
through it.
yeah.
Okay. So, would you like to define communication in a more like you have said?
Mm.
What is the difference here? But
Mm.
if you want to go and define communication more to understand it much better, like with some examples of this and
Yeah, we can definitely take some examples. Like for example, I have to say, get me that. Very specific, and so that's a communication. You all should do this.
Hmm,
That's a communication. When a teacher teaches the children, she
hmm,
doesn't have a conversation. She has a communication.
hmm,
When the government passes some resolution, that's a communication.
hmm,
So communications are very direct, very straightforward, and they can be acted upon. Communication can also lead to two people trying to tell what they want and what the other person wants. But conversation is totally different. Conversation is where there is no base to anything to be done. It could be just like people are discussing about what they want to do creatively about a design, and they are spending hours discussing that. And the outcome could be a design or could not be a design. So that is not definitive. It's something that you're just playing around. So you can say conversation is more creative element, or you can say the more dynamic element, while the communication is the more static element or the more direct element. Like samatha, vipassana. Samatha would be something like communication, and vipassana would be the dynamic element, that is your conversation.
understood. So here the also we have noted down some what differences they have given. So one is purpose related.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like to tell that what purpose communication serves more of a formal purpose here, and it conversation, as you have said, it goes into a informal way.
Yeah, and also if you look at it, when you have a purpose,
Hmm.
when it's direct,
Hmm.
that's communication. So one who is a good communicator gets his work done very fast, very nicely, and hence a good communicator is a very productive guy in when it comes up to your companies and organizations where you want to get the work done. So we always say you should have a clear communication. You cannot use a vague communication to discuss or sorry to say something, because people will not be able to act. Communication should be very, very clear. Okay, and that means that it is very specific. So when you communicate very specifically, the results are also very specific. So purpose is very clear. But conversation, if you keep the conversation very specific, you will have no conversation. Like if a husband and wife, if they are in the house, and the husband goes and tells, give me tea,
Hmm.
direct. She says, okay. Imagine how the house will be if they start communicating. They don't communicate, they converse. They say, hey, how was your day? What did you do? Come on, let's sit down, let's have a. They're just chit chatting and they're building a relationship. So, here, if you see, the purpose is that of a relationship building. So, conversations always lead to relationship building, while communication always leads to action to be done.
Okay, so for all our goals and everything, we have to first converse.
Depends what your goal.
Because
If
the
your goal,
second one is structure.
yeah.
So
Now,
can you put this in a structure then?
so the structure is very simple. You need to know what is your purpose behind which you're going to use these two means. Either you want to communicate something, or you want to have a conversation and build a relationship. You should know that. That is how you should be aware of your relationship, or it's just a communication. Like, many a times we just want to communicate something and we spend our energy building a relationship. It's a waste of thing. Like you want to buy something from a shopkeeper, you go and you tell him, I want this. There, if you spend your time, how are you, sir? How is your business? What are you trying to do? How is everything? And you're building a relationship, and then you're buying one product from him. Then even if he's going to say there's no discount, you will not even ask for it because you are already in a relationship.
Yeah.
You see, you should not build relationship where you want to do business.
So
Okay.
this is something different you're saying.
Yes.
Conversation is also one of the fact that you said it helps you build networks.
Yes, so conversation will build relationships. Now, this relationship, when it is built, this conversational relationship can help you build networks in which you can do your businesses, right? But which type of businesses to be done in a relationship market, and which type of relationship do you do in a consumer market? In a like, for example, let's take two industries, retail and the networking industry. The retail industry is a more communication based industry where the manufacturer is communicating to the end buyer through a small ad. People look at the ad and they buy a product. But what happens in a direct selling industry where the manufacturer says, we are this, we produce this, they build a relationship. They go and give you training for an hour. They talk about the products. They talk about the founder. They create all that relationship. And after which, it's because of that relationship, trust has been gained and people buy the product. And now it's the relationship drive that drives that business, while the advertisement in the other retail segment drives the business. You understood? So there you'll have to keep on spending money on advertisement in the retail industry, while in a direct selling industry, you'll have to keep on building your relationship, means more and more meetings, more and more gatherings. That's how it works.
So is that why they communicate through ads, because it's a direct communication happening here, and they train through having these they in the networking industry, it's more of a training, which is to have those conversations out there.
Yeah. You build relationships.
To build
Because
relationships.
you see, in a school, when the teacher teaching is direct communication, okay, but when the person in the class, maybe two of them don't understand, but the third guy understood. The third guy, when he actually meets this two guy, he's having a conversation because they are friends. And through the conversation, he learns. So learning can be also through a relationship, okay, or it could be directly through a communication. So what channel you have to use, when you have to use, and why you have to use, you should know. And you should be both. You should be a good conversationalist so that you build good relationship, and you should be a good communicator so that your work is done.
So like it's a complete mix and match of it. Some in the real life situation.
It's the way you juggle
Use
between
it,
both.
right? So what is the identifying factor here, that when to use communication and when to use conversation?
So when your purpose is very direct, that I would just want this and that's it. So that can be short, sweet, direct, finish, job done. When it is about building a relationship, then it definitely needs to be long term through a lot of other things, and you add in feelings and emotions and intonations and everything. Like, you can imagine, you want a bottle of water from a shopkeeper. You cannot say, hello sir, how are you? You don't need to add all the drama. You can just say, hey sir, can I get that bottle? Be polite enough and you pay the money and take it. That's what he's also expecting. Okay. But if you're in the house and you want a glass of water, you cannot say, hey, just give me a glass of water, because there is no transaction happening. There you're going to say, hello, hi, I'm very thirsty. You're adding up your situation. You're telling, it was very hot today. It was very busy. I hope, is there a glass of water that I can get? And people will then serve you, because you are putting a lot of information around here and there's no transaction happening. Okay, a relationship has already been built, and based on that relationship, you're getting your work done.
Okay, understood. Now, can you connect this with the what 8 steps which we are taking? Like, we set a resolution, then how is a resolution in different dimensions? Can conversation going to impact this with our resolution?
Yeah. So when you have a resolve, you have made a goal for yourself, and the journey is going to be through two ways. When you're talking about power of words, words are to be communicated, also to be used in a conversation. And if you want to really, enhance yourself, your skills of conversation and communication, and use the power of words through you to meet your goals, then you should know that you should be able to play both when and when necessary. So, for example, if your goal requires relationship building, then you will have to have a lot of conversations, right? Conversations with the people who will mentor you, conversations with the people whom you need to mentor. Okay, build relationships. Then on the other side, when you have to work to be done, there should be short communication and it should be specific communication. So I always say, people, they confuse both. Many a times a very simple communication, like when we look at the factories that I work with, and when the finance guy sends an email, I says, never ever have a conversation on email. Just specifically put the point, what it is, this, So it becomes easy for us to understand this is what this communication is meant for. But when an HR has to write an email with the staff that is joining, I tell you cannot be direct. You have to have that conversation with that also on an email. Yeah, hi, welcome to this, and this is what the company is, and that's a longer one. So you should know how you're going to meet your goals and which of these two, like two legs, you have to know which one to use when. Right? So, as a part of this series, the power of words is in the ability of ours to use both conversation when needed and communication when needed.
What gives you that clarity? What, like, it's the same person who's working in the finance, the same person who's working in HR. What set them on this path, and how you had that clarity?
Because you know the purpose, na? HR is here to build relationships. The job is to human resource. The guy who's in finance, he's like the teller in the bank. Somebody's coming with a check, he doesn't even need to talk. He just needs to look at the check and give him the money. That's it, job done, go away. Imagine you go to a bank and a guy comes with a check and he's talking for half an hour with the guy on the teller. All the CCTV cameras are going to see something is fishy out there, right?
Yeah.
So you should know when you're doing what. Okay, people don't realize that. Sometimes you should be smart enough to hook the communication so that he can lead you to a conversation. Sometimes you should have a conversation so that you can have a communication. You're getting a point? That play, you should do it very wisely.
Okay, understood. So now the third one is tone. Can you define tone? Because tone was a very important one, where communication, they said, have a tone, a different tone than the conversation.
Yeah. Communication, when it is used, is very direct, so that there is no lot of empathy and no feelings. It's very direct, straightforward, depending on what it is asking for or what it expects. You will be using the same tone. Maybe you are pissed off with somebody and you want to communicate your anger. You definitely will have an angry tone. You're happy with somebody and you want to just appreciate them. That's just a communication. And you want to say, great work, good job done. That's a different tone. Okay, so again, it's very direct, very simple. But when you have a conversation, it is, and you can say, an emotional pool, wherein what wave will come in, when you have to do, when to have the intonation, when to have that flat speech, when to have that deep speech, when to take a pause, all those things. The whole drama, the choreography works in a conversation. Right? So the communication is very structured, while conversation is very, very dynamic. It depends on the person who is the listener. So a trainer has to use the skills of conversation to make sure that he can communicate what he wants to communicate with the audience. And a person like an army general who has the work to be done has to use instructional method of direct communication so that he has the conversation passed on very clear. You understood?
Yeah. So now that we have set communication and you have set the stage for both, but in this you said the more important one, which we are doing the topic today, the power of words, mastering conversations. So now, after setting the stage, what is it that made you realize the power of words? Can you share with everybody that, so we can have that same understanding of it?
So if you look at it, we began the podcast by saying that humans have the only ability to juggle around with words, the same words that they have created phonetically so that it could mean something. Okay, these words are so powerful, and because they are spelled and they can actually create a spell. Okay, so the words have the power to create things. How do we know that? Because, when there is a word said, there is image already, there in your mind. If I say, I always use this in a training where I tell people, okay, now I'm going to say something, but you should not imagine it. Okay. Then it's like I tell them, everybody think of a, nice white background. Okay. But don't think of a red apple on it. And that's exactly when they have already thought of a red apple. Because
possible, at least it will give you the
because
outline of it.
even if I say don't, because of the word, it is going to manifest. So words have the ability, with all the negativity around, to still manifest things. And that is why they are the most powerful things, the affirmations that can manifest your world. So watch your words. What you speak, you shall get or receive. So watch your words. When you use words that are always about no, 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 the mind, the universe is listening to that and saying, okay, better give him what he wants. Okay, when we are always complaining, we become a part of that pool of people who complain. And what are the people who are complaining? They are the ones who are suffering. So suffering becomes an outcome of that. Okay. So we should be very careful in the way you use words. Words are your power. And if you know, in India, basically, even a curse from a person who is actually a very deep practitioner of meditation, like a rishi or a sadhu, cursing you, it is said that even the gods shiver, right, for the curse of that. So that means people are expecting two things: a blessing which can transform their life, and then on the other side they don't want a curse which can destroy their life. So the power of words, especially in India, is definitely understood
You
from long time.
introduced a rishi or a meditator. Like what did you wanted to highlight there? Like how is it that that person, one who goes into a deep meditation, their words have so much of
It's like a sharpened steel blade is a knife, and it can slaughter you. If used, it can cut your throat. But a plate which is not sharpened can basically not hurt. It can hurt you, but it cannot kill you. So a sharpened mind of a meditator or a sadhu or a rishi, his words are very, very much focused, and they have all the intention for creation. So you should be always careful of people whom you are interacting with. Sharp-minded people, very, very, but very clear-minded people, their words can definitely affect you. Casual speakers and those people, it doesn't matter much. So you should always know there are people who really, really desire that desire, and have the resolution, and they are the ones who have either love or hate within them. And when they say something to you, it definitely is going to affect you along with them.
understood. So now we'll cover the types of styles in conversation, and before that, as the topic you told us about the power of words. Now the word conversation,
Hmm.
the mastering conversation. Why pick communication above or more importance you gave to the word conversation?
Yeah.
What would be the reason for that?
Because when you look at the way we evolve as kids, when we were small, we use communication. I want this, I want that. That's it. Okay, but that always keeps us as at somebody is our master, and we are dependent on that. But once you learn to converse, you change roles. You become the master. So conversation, and if you master conversation, you master everything. And that is why they say that people who can actually are good conversationalists are great communicators, because when they converse, they have already built a relationship, and on that relationship, when they ask for something, it is done like this. Okay, it's very natural, no? Like when your dad and you all in a relationship, because you have a conversation and you are conversing every day, not directly. But one day, if your dad wants something, he just calls you up in one line, he tells you this, and you'll do it. That's how the power of conversation can lead you to getting your communication perfect. People are missing out on the part of conversation, and they are trying to become great communicators. Communicators are like machines. Machines communicate to us, and they don't have any emotions. We don't get bonded with it, right? But conversations definitely make a difference. Like today, you see the beauty of it, that once upon a time when we played music, we had these cassette players and the CD players, and we used to MP3 players, and that was communication. It was only one way. Okay, we did control, but we knew which songs to play. But today, the advent of Alexa, where Alexa communicates, also converses with us. Okay, she listens to us and talks to us. So, do you like this song? And that experience is different. That's level up.
Yeah.
So you see, communication evolves to conversation, and conversation then becomes the basis of your communication.
So we should look at the evolution part of the cycle and understand that for us to also evolve, we have to upgrade ourselves from communication,
Yes.
keeping communication as the
Yes.
base,
Yes.
but evolving to conversation
Yeah.
part of it, because there is where evolution is
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. So that is why communication becomes the disciplined practice so that you go into the creative conversational journey.
Okay. So
Yeah.
again, like having a hook.
Yes.
This is the hook and
Yeah.
everything around. So
Yeah.
communication will be a hook,
Yeah.
and the conversation,
Because
everything around it.
communication is something that you can achieve
Hmm.
because it's very definitive, right?
Yeah.
So through that, you become a great conversationalist. So you can have great conversations, but for that, your base, your foundation should be good communication. And it starts with discipline. Discipline of your tongue to speak what is necessary, when to speak. That is why we say, learn those power words, they have that. Please, thank you, sorry, excuse me. All these words, they have a very great power for you to set up your stage for a great conversation. You're getting a point?
Yeah.
Like if you have somebody in front of you in the line and you just say, excuse me, sir. And that's the beginning of your communication, but it's also setting up a stage for the great conversation that's going to follow. Right?
Yes.
So I always say that the discipline of communication will lead into the creative conversation in the future.
So is it that like you said, we should also have conversations with our goals and resolution as well?
Yeah.
How to do
So
that?
once you communicate to yourself that this is the goal that you have to achieve, that is a direct communication, right? That I set a goal, this is what I want to set. So January, you set yourself a goal and said, this is what I need to do. You put it on a vision board, and the vision board now communicates with you every day. Hey, remember you set this up. You remember and you look at it. So this is communication. What is happening? A visual communication. When you speak and let people know about it, that's your verbal communication. Okay, and somebody even talks to you, that's maybe an auditory communication, but that's communication reminding you of your goal. But when you are having a conversation with that goal, you should sit and you should always spend time. See, I have to achieve this, what I need to do. This self-talk or self-conversation or writing a diary or a journaling habit is having a conversation. So it doesn't require anybody else here. It only requires you. Then sharing that with everybody else as a idea or a dream. This year I plan to do this. It's like letting the universe know what your intentions are, and having a conversation with the universe. Okay, because universe likes engagement. It doesn't just say, okay, communicate and I'll give it. No, it doesn't give you like that. You need to have a relationship with the existence for the existence to actually give you something. People miss out on it. If that was the case, then everybody would have asked and everybody would have got. No, it's the
They said,
relationship.
ask so you shall receive.
Yeah, you ask, but to whom are you asking? Okay, you can ask your mom and mom will give you. You ask to somebody else's mom, she might not give you. So is there a relationship with you and existence? Is there a relationship of the...
Existence doesn't let you through the communication part of it?
No, communication will be too direct, right? Hey, give me this. You ask existence, you sit there and, okay, I want $1 million. You'll not get a single penny. But you have built a good relationship with existence. You have built good relationship with people. You're taking care of it, what the existence does. You're interacting. You're being a good person, what existence expects. You're following the Panchashil. You're, contributing to existence by doing dana and, all those things. That's qualities that we discuss.
Yeah, 6 qualities.
You have built a relationship. Now it's like you and the existence has a relationship. Now from that, you ask, or even you don't ask, the universe can understand what your intention is and will make everything possible that you achieve your goals. That's manifestation.
Beautiful. So
Yeah.
another secret we have here, how do we communicate? Because many of the times there are these affirmations and everything. So how will affirmation come into picture? Will it come as a conversation style or a communication you hook yourself with?
Yes. Affirmation would be more communication, reminding you this. But on that affirmation journey, what's your conversation? Okay, what's your conversation with the people, with your work, with the problems, everything, that should be dynamic, right? That sometimes it will require effort, sometimes it will not require effort. So people, you see, there are great speakers. These great speakers are great communicators. But when it comes up to converting that communication into a relationship, it doesn't happen. Okay, but there are great people who are great in
Good.
conversation. Like in India, you see lot of babas, they do the pravachan on katha. All the storytelling is what? Conversation. The great storyteller you are, all those people listening there, they are listening to the story that you're telling. With this, they have a relationship. And after that, Baba says, okay, please, contribute whatever you can to my ashram. People will just come and give the money. You understand? So it's like I saw one guy, one of the Baba, he was sitting and one person comes to him and he communicates. So this person is communicating to the Baba that I am having problem. I have a lot of difficulty in my life. I have a lot of loan. I need some 10 lakh rupees. It is very difficult for me. Now the Baba, who has been having conversation with all the bhakts, all the people, devotees, he says, okay, don't worry. Now that was communication.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
short.
is
Now he's going to use his conversation, which he already has built a relationship, and he's saying, hey, you. Okay, now he's using communication again because he has to solve his problem with a communication. Now, problem solving. So he says, here, you with the white kurta, remove how much money you have from your pocket. I can see that. He says, sir, come, give fast. Then the guy comes up, that is around 50,000 rupees. Then he says, you, blue one, you also, my staff also, you. Within 10, 20 people, 30 people, the guy is already accumulated 10 lakh rupees and says, take this and go. You understood?
beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, but you are telling in an aspect where India realized the value of conversation and these people mastered the art of conversation, and that is why they are getting paid. Not because they're just sitting and blabbering. They were able to converse with people, so many people out there. And when so it's more of a this you can say a diversion of both. Like communication is that single point for you have to go and converse out there, and vice versa for both. Like once you have some, like you're saying, once the guy communicated because he has already conversed everybody, now when he
Again
had that
communicates.
opportunity to help, he just communicated and people helped.
Yeah. So conversation is not with an expectation. Conversation is just conversation to build a relationship.
Yeah.
So how many people actually have a conversation so that when they need something and they want to communicate, it can help?
It can help.
People don't do that. You see, children go to school. Teachers have this 45-minute session. They are communicating with the children what is written in the book. This is it there, study. This is it there. The child is just being able to take that as a communication. Okay, so ma'am, we have done, and the job was done, exams. All that kind of education system is built on communication.
Communication.
But imagine an education system which was prevalent in India, like the Gurukul system, where the guru used to get up, how are you feeling? Okay, today what we are going to do this, we're going to. He is building a relationship. People lived with him. They did not have a subject to learn. They were learning themselves as a subject. And that's what built the relationship. That's what built their communication. That was the basis on which relationships were built. And when the guru used to tell, go now, your course is over. Go and before you leave, give me Guru Dakshina. Even small kids gave whatever they could to the teacher. So that's not happening in schools today.
Yeah.
That's not happening in the training system today.
No.
Training systems are becoming very specific.
Communicative.
When you miss out the soul of your words, your soul of words is conversation. Okay, then your communication, that is the body, will also not live for long.
See, the communication word has mute in it, and the conversation has the word verse.
Yes.
So
you, with the conversation, I always say you create your own verse, your universe, right?
yeah.
And with the community or very small specific one, you separate from the universe. You make a very limited thing, but that's okay. That's what I said. You need to know both.
You need to know both.
And you need to know which one to use, samatha and vipassana, static and dynamic. When a person is good in using words statically and dynamically, then he knows with this person not more than 2 minutes. With that person 2 hours is also less. He understood. And the person doesn't realize, wow, for me 2 minutes, for that person 2 hours. Because that's a building happening. That's a transaction that is being done. Okay, so when that is happening, when people understand that long hours of talk is usually a conversation, okay, and you should be there enjoying it, being a participant of it, because something is building up a relationship. And when you know that this is transactory, This is about give and take. Keep it as short as it can be, because that is just a communication. You understand? Then you will not waste your time.
Yeah, many of the time we just
Yeah.
don't understand this and waste a lot of time.
So I have this habit. I always say I build up a nice relationship with the conversation, then always close it up with a nice communication to close the deal. That's how you should do.
Yeah.
That's how you should do.
So how can you give some examples?
So recently we had in a factory,
Yeah.
we had around 80 odd people came for a meditation retreat, and when they came, I saw many of them were, we rent out our kimonos so that they wear that and everybody looks same. So I started to give talk for 2 days, and I was building that up so that they respect the kimono, they respect the practice, they understand what Sunya is, what meditation is, what activities we are doing. After all that, we took them to the factory where we are actually stitching kimonos. They see that, and after that, I come up with an offer that, okay, today, for you special people, we are going to have the kimono stall there, and you can buy that kimono at just $9.99. And because it was a direct communication, it was a one-liner, 40 people of those just bought it. And I had 40 kimonos sold in less than 10 minutes.
Wow.
So that's because I spent that 10 hours to close a sale in 10 minutes. People, if I would have told them the first day, we buy this kimono, nobody will buy. Okay, because they don't feel it is necessary. There's no emotional bonding. There's no transaction that should be done. There's no relationship, right? And I believe if you look at the world today, the world today is of influencers who have already built relationships with their followers through a lot of content. And when these influencers are going to present a product, or actually represent a product or sell a product, those people from the followers will buy it.
So for the economically being stable, we need to understand the conversion part of it.
Conversation part of it. Yeah.
Part of it. Because like how you were able to do it, that then as we all know, kimonos are being sold through a foundation, and that just helped them.
Absolutely.
Because you spent that time conversing with
Yeah.
them, and you communicated why it was the reason. So
Yeah.
people understood it.
Yeah.
Because if I have, because this is a very important thing which you are telling. Why? Because when I was doing my CS, we had business communication. Then it's all about communication, be a good communicator. Now when if I want to read a book, I'll try to have a conversation with it, not some communication key, taking a line, then studying it, and then leaving it off. But better to what is that line trying to converse with me? I mean, do I have to look it like that, or sometimes it is just communication? How do we use on these objects in our life?
So conversational, as I said, you need a few things. You need to not have a very simple transactory method. Okay, like for example, if you're reading a book of physics, because tomorrow you have an example, that's direct communication. You're least interested what is going to teach you. But if you're reading an ideology of Gandhiji, and you think, no, I want to read this, that's a conversation. You ask, why is Gandhiji done this? So that you become like him, right? So the fact that what is the transaction that is involved, is it very direct or something that is building a relationship? So after reading the book with Gandhiji, you become a follower and you start liking Gandhiji, and maybe you go out and buy a khadi cloth. That's a different thing. But when you do your physics, you're doing it for your exams, you're doing for your marks so that you get admission somewhere else. Then afterwards, you might even leave physics.
It completely depends on the situation.
Yeah, it depends. So that's what I said. For this also, you need the wisdom to use when what.
Yeah.
You understood? So you see, today in the society, the biggest problem is we have become good communicators, okay, but very bad conversationalists. So we don't know how to have a conversation. If a husband and a wife has a good conversation, their relationship lasts. If a husband and wife only keep themselves to their point of communication, I want this, I want that, I want this, we need to finish. That relationship.
Psychotherapy sees such
it's the only thing I see. People who have a conversation within themselves will never come to me for conversation. Psychotherapy is conversation, right? So
psychotherapy is
conversation. Yeah, it's conversation, right? So when a person comes for therapy, he's coming for conversation. He wants somebody to listen to him. right? Understand their problems. He wants a little more guidance. He's in that conversation. But the issues are always because the communication is too much there. This is what they expect. This is what this that is the problem. There is always something transactory, and people get uncomfortable in a transactory relationship. People go into a relationship because of emotions, not because of a transaction. You understood? Transactional relationships don't last. They are just like give and take. And emotional relationships last till the end. You're getting a point. So it's very important people understand that the power of words and the ability to master conversation is the only way that can help you to manifest whatever your goals are.
Very true,
Yeah.
very true. I mean, by understanding how important it is, knowing that there is such a depth into a conversation, I mean, it has made me realize that you have to look at it so carefully at which period, at what point you are having a conversation or a communication.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is a preceding cause for it as well. So maybe we can cover it up later. But like, first we go for the conversation styles.
Yeah.
So these are the conversation styles which we have something which is directive, clear, concise, goal oriented. Example, we need to finish this by Friday.
Yeah, this is very clear. This conversation is direct. Okay, it's a
Even
conversation.
conversation can be direct, not
Yeah.
necessarily it
Yeah,
is
it
communication.
could be. You see, we need to finish this by Friday. Okay, when this conversation is direct, but it's a conversation. You have to do this by Friday. It's a communication very direct. So you should understand it's a blend. When you say, you cannot just say separate out. It's just two sides of the coin.
At the end of the day, it is the words which are
Yeah.
blended
Yes,
in two
yes.
ways.
So when you say a direct conversation is more communicative. Okay, it is a conversation, but conversation is with not one-liners. It'll come with, oh no, actually, this is the reason. He's goal-oriented. He's saying that my goal is this. I need to do this, and so can we finish it up by Friday? That's a conversation. Okay, a direct communication, but in a conversational style.
Understood. Now we have the second one, which is reflective, thoughtful, and introspective. Example, can you elaborate on your thoughts?
Yeah. So this guy is now trying to build relationship. Okay. He's asking somebody else and trying to reflect on it. So wants to go into a conversation. So this person is now sending a message very clear that I'm very interested in what you're saying. Can you explain me how and what are your thoughts on this and all those things? So questioning is a good way of letting others know that whatever you said is worth reflecting upon, but I have my ways in which I'm thinking. Can you explain that? Like the way Subhuti actually asks Buddha the same questions, right? How to concentrate and how to control the mind. And that leads to the whole conversation called Diamond Sutra. So similarly, what is that first step that you take, the style that you create, that will lead into the whole drama of the play, or you can say the play that will unfold.
The third one is storytelling, which you just shared that how the Babas out there are doing. Engages through anecdotes. Example, that reminds me of a similar experience.
Yeah.
This Buddha also does.
Yeah, Buddha has this. Oh, so Buddha was very clear in all this. So when you look at direct goal-oriented Buddha, we need to finish this part. Everybody has to achieve nirvana. Everybody can achieve nirvana. There are 4 levels to achieve, and 4 noble truths. This is this. So you'll see all these are very clearly used depending on the audience that he's dealing with. And he's a conversationalist.
He's a
Definitely, right?
greatest conversation.
So then when you look at it, thoughtful and introspective, he asked you to question everything. What is your question? Why don't believe anything? Okay, then he's telling you storytelling. He's telling you everything in a story, in a form. He will always have anecdotes to say, like if this is so because of that. Like for example, when he says that, let's take an example, when Anguli Mala tells him to stop, then he tells, hey, I stopped long time back. Now, the guy understood, what does he mean, It's time for you to stop. So, he's giving an anecdote that I already did what you're telling me. The guy doesn't know. He's interested. He got him in a conversation. That's the hook. You see, so storytelling is a very beautiful art in which you can actually get people hooked up into a nice conversation and build a relationship.
Okay. So how about the fourth one, which is collaborative, encourages teamwork and brainstorming? Example, what do you think about this idea?
So, asking help, taking people's opinion, is, you see, Buddha again, very smart. He asks, what do you think, Subhuti? Yeah? He's asking him. So when you are in a conversation, you should respect the other person also. What is your opinion on it? What do you think about it? This is my idea. What is your idea about it? So when you give that platform and share that equal opportunity for him to communicate to you in a way that we build a relationship, that's what is called collaboration. And you can imagine, in a collaboration, you can do wonders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another good way of doing a conversation.
Yeah. The fifth one is persuasive, influences using logic and emotion. Example, this strategy could boost results by 20%.
Yeah, this is beautiful. This is what we do in therapy also. We bring it to a point where all the emotions and all the logics are applied over a period of time of conversation, so that at the end we say, this is what is the best approach. What do you think? The guy is left with no other option, but since he's been brought there, he agrees to it. So most of the conversations that lead you to the end simple way where you can just communicate in a single line, it can be done, is the persuasive conversation. So you have to be using logic and emotion together, a blend of both. Okay, so that that person is involved in thinking process, and based on that, he's able to then follow whatever you want to tell him to do.
Okay. Then the sixth one is supportive, provides empathy and validation. Example, I'm here for you. How can I help?
Another part of the same one where that we did the collaborative one. Now here is being supportive. He sees that there is somebody who is in need of something, and he wants to build a relationship with this person by helping him. So here you can see, I'm here for you. How can I help you? Means when you extend support, then your relationship is already building up, right? So like, for example, you're on the line and somebody just says, excuse me, you know that excuse me from that person is the first thing where you can help that person. So you see it's an old man, and you can say, hey, oh, so sorry, would you like to sit here? I'm here to give you this space, because then he says, oh, thank you so much, and you just get up and you've already started. So he will ask you, then your conversation says, thank you so much, you're so kind, and it was nice, seeing a person, young person, giving me space to us. Very rarely do. He's already gone into a conversation. After that, you get down and you know that you're going for an interview, and you happen to meet this guy who is the CEO of the company. He sees you. What do you think? You'll get a job or not?
Yes.
Exactly, because he saw you in person as a good person. He's not interested in your degrees. He might ask you for that, whether you fit for the role, but otherwise you're already selected. So conversations build a relationship, and through that relationship, you have your support system.
Okay. Then there are some principles which are for excellence in conversation, which is, first one is master your material.
Yeah.
Study your subject deeply. This is
Yeah.
the first point in it.
Yeah. So when you see, conversation is not one liner, na. It needs a lot of lines. You need a lot of time. If you don't master your material, if you're not a subject matter expert, how long can you speak on it? You'll be left with no words. And without words, how can you have a conversation? So you need to be a master in your subject. So study hard, study really deep the subject that you would like to use as a basis of your conversation, and that becomes your identity also. So definitely you need to study your subject deeply. Okay, then with all that accumulated knowledge from that subject, all the thoughts that come along, you have to need to actually organize those thoughts, and then that organized thought will lead you to clarity of speech. Okay, then what happens? Add personal stories to connect emotionally. In your conversation, your story matters, because you are the proof of that story. It's not somebody else's. You're not gossiping. You're telling what is your part of this, right, experience. And when people connect with your story, they see the emotion in it, they have a relationship with you. Okay, so very, very important for you is to master your material and blend yourself in that material. You understand? So very
The
important.
last line.
Like, see, if I am a Ayurveda physician, I need to be a subject matter expert of that Ayurveda. So I have to study Ayurveda. So I do it in college, and after that again I study and study. Then whatever I study, I look at what the market is and how that, and organize all those thoughts that come and bring clarity of speech. Then I'm able to speak very clearly. But if I speak about Ayurveda, they will see that I am a teacher. But if I add my story to it, that I love Ayurveda, I live Ayurveda, I believe these principles of Ayurveda have changed me. I used to do this, this, this. Now suddenly, it's already building an emotional relationship with the person who's listening to me. He endorses me as an Ayurveda physician and accepts me as a person who has used Ayurveda to transform his life. Now, when I tell him that I suggest this for you, he will buy.
Yes.
You understand? He will agree. So this is how you have to first, the most important thing in a conversation is master your material.
Yeah. So mastering your material is literally becoming the material itself.
Yeah. If you cannot master your material,
Hmm.
how can you master your communication and master your conversation? And without that, how can you master anything in life? And without being a master, how can you manifest anything?
Nothing.
So you have to be a master in everything. Every step is nothing but what we say is to master that particular step that you are. When you're climbing a ladder, when you put your leg on the first, step, that step, you have to master it. You have to be comfortable on it. You should be, then only then you can go on the next step. Imagine you have not mastered it and you're not in balance in the first step. Do you think you will be able to go to the next step?
No.
No. So with every step, you have to be a master. So that at the end of everything, you are a master. You're getting what?
Yeah. So same applies for the practice as well then.
Yeah. Even meditation, every belt you have to master. People, what they say, okay, teach us. We say we have 7 belt meditation practice. Then they are so interested in the highest level that they are least interested in the lowest level. But I can tell you one thing, if you are good in first standard, you were definitely good in the second. And if you mastered second, third, you will definitely have done great. Every grades that you mastered, by the time you are in 10th, you have the mastery of all that thing that you have gone through. And then you definitely are a master in everything that you do. So remember your levels you need to master.
So second one is the principle. Second principle is practice regularly. The points covered are rehearse your message, record and analyze your delivery, balance imitation with your authentic style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now here you see how do I, because as I told you, it's discipline. So even though be a great person who can have great conversations, or you need to first bring in discipline of communication. How will you do that? Rehearse your message. Now when you're saying rehearse your message means this is what I want to give. Okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do. This is rehearsing. How am I going to do? This is your practice. Okay, it's like before going to the game, the player practices in his backyard so that he can go and face whatever challenges the game has for tomorrow. Rehearsing is very important. People don't understand this, but it is the key. Record and analyze your own delivery. Then today with technology, you can actually record and analyze, self-analysis. That's what we do in our practice also. With self-analysis, you have a chance of always improving. No, this version I don't like. Because if you don't like the version of yourself, do you expect anybody to like you? No. So definitely you need to record and analyze your delivery. Then balance imitation with your authentic style. Now, because you have been rehearsing, you actually become like a machine. But there is a style of yours. Either you are a persuasive conversationalist, you are a supportive one. Depend on the audience, change your style. And then bring your authentic style within you, and then use that style in the conversation that you have rehearsed. And that becomes your style.
Yeah, so these principles and these styles and steps are to be you should have this like a conversation.
Yeah.
Then when needed, bring it to a point of communication.
See, you're like a doctor. You look at the disease and then give them medication, right? So look at the audience and then use your conversational style, your own communication style. Sometimes communication is the only thing that works. Conversation messes up things. Sometimes conversation is the only thing that works. Communication can mess up things. You should know what to use when. Yeah.
So I think by the end of this, we'll realize at least how to use. Then when we start using it, then over a period of time,
Yes.
we'll know that when to use what.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the third one is develop verbal and non-verbal skills, use voice modulation for emphasis, maintain confident body language, master the art of pausing to let ideas sink in. This last one is a good one. Steve Jobs was said to be the
Yeah,
master of.
yeah. And you see, when you look at this, both verbal and non-verbal skills. When you look at use voice modulation for emphasis, when you want to say something really, really important, you actually, like I'm doing right now, making it feel so special, taking those pauses so that a very important thing is coming about.
Yeah.
And that body language of mine is about to reveal the greatest secret ever. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm adding a lot of voice modulation. I'm bringing all that body language. I'm using the pauses to create something exciting that is going to follow. And that is where you're grabbing attention of the one who's listening. It's very, very important when you are actually want to develop your skills, verbal skills. Now, same is in written skills. Okay, some things you highlight, some things you italic, some things you underline, some things you bold. You know how to write and when to write. People have this habit of having a differentiating mind, so you should pick up those things that can help them watch and grab attention to your content. And this is the best way to do that. And those pauses, those you can say enters, so that you have the next paragraph starting in, these all are very, very important. You getting?
So it is that you said people have that differentiating mind.
Huh.
So this is one of like connecting back to the idea where babas and everything do this drama nowadays. But conversation is just sounding a lot dramatic than communication.
It is dramatic.
So I just wanted to ask you that India realize it's important. They used to have great dramas and epics also done. But why is it that over a period of time we are shying away from it? Like, hey, don't do dramas.
Because the communication is wrong. They are asking you to become blind followers. At the end, if the intention was to make you blind, then all the seeing was just an illusion, right? So people can wake up. At the end, after you have built a relationship, and the ultimate aim was to cheat in that relationship is not going to last. You understood? But if that relationship was meant to support, to stand, to help you grow, get the better out of you, it will definitely last. So when it's not that every conversations at the end actually lead to the results that you want. You can for sometimes use that relationship that you have built on the basis of conversations and abuse that relationship. But if the intention is bad, you will definitely not be able to continue that relationship. And that's exactly what is the problem today also. So on the one side, lack of conversation is causing a lot of wrong communication. And because there is a lot of conversation, but the ethics and principles of the person are not able to maintain that relationship, then we have another issue. So all these type of people do come for therapy.
So what is your take on where conversation is so dramatic? If do we have to put in that effort to make it so conversation type?
Exactly what you're doing right now through this podcast. You're having a conversation. You could have just read all those things and say, this is what I've given it. If you had just put these pointers and not discussed,
Then
that was communication, right?
communication.
But now you're having a conversation, you're also able to get excited about it. Maybe the listener is also
So
interested.
the reason was to keep it excited.
No, is for you to build a relationship. At the end, out of this conversation, you still want them to build a relationship with what this content is. Then what was the previous content, how it is that connected, and what is the next content. So you're building relationship, right?
No, I'm still with the part where why India would sorry, not why, but they realized it and they did this.
Yeah.
Now not doing it. But why was the reason how they realized it? They were putting it into picture. So it was because they wanted to build relationships with the content which is there.
Yeah.
So then people can remember it through the dramatization of it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
to
there
make it easier.
So that was the storytelling conversation.
Storytelling part.
Storytelling conversation. So at the end, which conversational style you use to build that relationship?
Okay, so that was one of the
Yeah.
styles, not necessarily
No.
only that. Okay. The fourth one is focus on your audience.
Mm.
Understand their needs and interests. Engage with rhetorical questions and stories. Seek feedback to improve connection.
Absolutely. Now here, this is very important. Conversation just not one sided, right? It's two sided. So you need to know what they need, not what you have to offer. So as we know that even Buddha always taught what was need to be taught, not because he had an agenda or doctrine that he wanted to preach. So he was a teacher, not a preacher. A preacher usually forces some doctrine on you. A teacher helps you understand what you don't understand. So what you need to understand is something that is still troubling you. If you have your questions and that questions are answered and clarified by a person, he is a teacher. He is your guide. Okay, but without anything, somebody tells you to do something without you having the right to ask questions, that definitely is preaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here definitely you need to understand a good conversation should allow the person's needs and their interests to be the reason through which the content flows. Okay, then engage with rhetorical questions and stories. Lot of questions, lot of stories will add up to the material that will build that relationship. Okay, then seek feedback to improve connection. Then this is very important because in a relationship you always need to ask, how was it? All okay? Everything okay? Did you like it or not? So you go to a hotel. Okay, in the hotel, if you want to do this now, imagine this nice stuff you want to do. Focus on the so imagine a waiter comes to you and says, okay, sir. So we are from this restaurant. We have these dishes. So like, are you really hungry or just want to have a little taste of our great cuisine? The guy says, no, I'm very hungry. Oh, okay, sir. So would you like Indian food or would you like the Chinese? That is one of our specialty. I think we'll go with the Indian. He's trying to understand their needs. You see, he's already building a relationship. How about, sir, I think out of the Chinese, do you prefer noodles or do you prefer rice? They says, I think I like noodles. Okay, sir, noodles, you like spicy, sir? I mean, this is what I think. Or you are still okay with having it plain? No, no, a little spicy will do. He's already closing a deal, right? He knows where he's taking them. By the time he's already engaged them in rhetorical questions and, sir, you should try this particular dish of ours. Even yesterday, one of the great celebrities, Mr. XYZ, he was here. And if you look into his Instagram account, he's talked about that dish. Fantastic dish. You love that. So then after everything you've served, the guy has definitely bought it and he's trying it. Then you should say, sir, how was it, sir? Did you like it? Now, can you imagine the next time he's passing by and he's hungry? Where is he going to come?
He's going to come into the same restaurant.
Exactly. You won't believe in India, all those places where we call tapri, where they give tea and cigarette. People will travel anywhere because they have a relationship with this guy who's giving them tea, give money afterwards, take cigarette, take tea, and they will sit hours having conversations there. Okay, smoking their cigarette and having their tea. You getting a point? And they don't mind. And that guy has built a relationship. There is one yesterday. Rucha was telling about a guy called Chaiwala in Nagpur. You see, the guy. What does he do? He's built a nice relationship. So people come to see him. He's giving all the style. He's engaging with them. He's having conversations with them. So that's how you actually influence. And people, that's where businesses need to understand that it's beyond communication. Just don't communicate with an ad. Don't just communicate with a poster. Just don't communicate with a website. Can we have some kind of engagement where you are taking feedback from the people, your customers also?
So converse to serve to converse.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
What?
So,
Converse to serve.
yeah, if you want to serve, then you need conversation.
Converse. Yeah. So then the fifth one is build confidence. Start with small informal settings. Acknowledge and overcome fears. Celebrate every important event. I think so. Here should you
Yeah.
say.
Or even improvement. It's right. Celebrate every improvement. So now when you're talking about building confidence, we tell people to build confidence. Be confident. But how do you be confident? You'll have to build that confidence. How can you build confidence? By taking baby steps, accomplishing them. So when you want to complete your resolution for the year, first, I told you last time also that it should be the month's resolution broken down. It should be the week's resolution broken down. It should be the day's resolution that has to be broken down. It should be the hour's resolution that has to be broken. When you work on the pixel, you have a picture. When you work on the minutes, you have your goal accomplished over a period of time in your hours and your days and your years. So here it is very important that you start small, even in an informal setting with nothing around. You just start. Okay, like the way we are doing the podcast, we're doing it with whatever things we have. We got the two cameras, we use these cameras, whatever wires are hanging around here, we are doing it. We are not waiting for everything to be greatly available, only then we will do. We are doing it. So over a period of time, Dhruv, this is your 4th episode. Imagine the 40th episode, your confidence will be something else.
Yeah.
You understand? The guy who is going to come for interview, maybe he will lose his confidence with your confidence. So that is going to happen because you're taking those baby steps. But when you come, you have to also know that you need to acknowledge and overcome your fears. So there will be certain things that will cause fear and anxiety and worry. And if you acknowledge it, that's the point where you have actually started to win over it. Right? When we know that we don't know this, that's when your knowing starts. When we feel that this is what we are feeling, that's when that feeling goes away. Okay, so you need to know and you need to feel whatever is bothering you so that that thing will not bother you.
So
Okay.
this is where the internal conversation
Yes.
comes in, and
Yes.
now I was just waiting where we should introduce this topic where what yesterday happened, and you shared about whole concept of how Mara comes into picture, and there is an internal conversation which can lead you to too much assumption sometimes. So can you just now share about that topic, the internal conversations which we have, or the communications?
No, so you're not you need to handle your conversations when they are troubling you with communication. You understood? Now you understand, very important. You handle your conversations when they are troubling you with communication. You should handle your communication which is not giving you a result with conversation. How? I'll explain you. Now you're having a conversation, okay? But this conversation is leading you into all the mess. It's spoiling your relationship. It's leading into all that emotional drama. At that time, you should be very clear in communicating. If this is it, at the end, there has to be a blend. The conversation is this is it, you keep it at that point. Maybe the conversation which was taking you somewhere else, the communication stops it. You understood? And brings you back on track. Like when the conversation led you to assume something, a simple communication of asking a question solved it. You understood?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes the communication of saying that this can hurt a person. At that time, when you have realized it, go into a conversation to explain, no, it is not like that and that. So you need to know when to give that little and when to give that more. And that's how you should be able to juggle between communication and conversation.
Understood.
It should be used wisely. And a great, a wise person knows when to communicate and when to converse. And when the communication goes out of control and it's destroying the whole purpose of that communication, that's when the conversation is followed. And when the conversation is destroying the purpose for which it was meant for, that's spoiling the relationship, that's where the communication comes in. That's why, sometimes when the conversations have already become so sour, a simple communication of bringing a bunch of roses to your wife can solve all the problems. A small, trip outside can solve a problem. Tickets, I mean. So sometimes a simple communication, a few liners can take care of all the mess that the conversation has led you into. Sometimes long conversations are needed when you said something which has hurt somebody and you explain that and you solve it. So you need to know the blend of both. Understood?
Yeah.
And then celebrate every improvement. Yeah. If you do not celebrate every improvement, then where is the joy?
No joy.
So your joy is knowing that every day you are becoming a better version of yourself. You're coming close to the resolution that you have set up yourself for. So January I set up a resolution. In January, I should be actually celebrating every day of mine because I'm getting close to my resolution. If I'm not celebrating those days, I'm not going to come close to my resolution. And I cannot wait for that last month, December, to say that will be the month I will celebrate. No. That's not celebration. That's trying to force yourself to complete something. But if you're celebrating in January, you're celebrating in February, in March, you are definitely going to achieve what you have resolved yourself. Maybe not even till December, much before that.
Yeah. So you should celebrate for the whole year,
Exactly, that's joy.
all day, all day.
Definitely, every day you're in align with what your resolution was. You're super excited with that. So a simple talk like this with the person who is already having a resolution should excite him. Oh, this is what I needed. I needed to this talk, because with this talk I'm actually much clear of what I need to do. That excitement should be there. Otherwise, there's no point in even doing what you're doing. That excitement is the only force that drives you from this moment into the next moment, and that's what.
Excitement comes in with communication. I mean, blend for sure.
No, it comes with this particular thing. What is it says? That you should celebrate.
Celebrate.
Excitement is celebration.
Hmm.
You understood? When you celebrate.
How to celebrate? Like your goal was such something which is going to
Yeah. So then that's why we said we put in short-term goals.
short-term goals.
Can't you even finish those? And
Celebrating them. What
like
do
for
you mean?
example, I had to read one book in this month. Okay. And I had broken that. I will broken it down to
Pages.
one page in an hour. Maybe 2 lines in 10 minutes, something like that. You've broken down that to that level. So when you got time, you just finish. When nobody was disturbing you, finish 2 lines. You should be happy. Yeah, I finished. That excitement should be there, that even the 2 minutes you were able to accomplish,
Yeah.
or the 10 minutes you were able to accomplish, that hour where you got to read one whole page, you should celebrate. That day when you finish those 10 pages, you should celebrate.
Celebrate, like excitement is understood.
Celebrate is like, okay, you reward yourself in some way. It's like mind, as I told you, is like a dog. You need to reward. Okay, like a dog needs a biscuit after a performance and an act, so is your mind.
Mind.
Your mind needs a reward every day. If it's going to say so, you reward yourself. Maybe this I'm going to do this. Okay, with this I'm going to do this. So when you reward yourself, then your mind is more into the mode of reward, and it actually enhances your performance. So reward is the key for you to improve, and with every improvement you will progress.
So through like for example, when you are reading something and the knowledge you gain out of it, when you post it or share it, is that a way of celebrating it?
If that's what you
Celebration comes into picture where it is more than you, or just you also you can.
The celebration could be anything, just your choice. Maybe it could be just, oh, after this I definitely want to just go and relax. That could be celebration. Oh, after this I'm going to eat this. After this I'm going to talk to this. After this I'm going to watch this. You find something that you can reward yourself, which aligns with the purpose, and you'll see that you will be able to do that.
Simple as that.
It
Because
should
when
be
you break down to
yeah.
that minute level, even your celebration should come.
The celebration is in par with your desire.
Oh.
Yeah, something that you desire is what you will want to celebrate with. So these small things of you achieving your target, celebrating, by the time you realize you're already celebrating the desires that you always wanted, and things have already manifested. You did not have to do anything. You understand?
Repeat that.
When you are actually celebrating those small moments that you always desire, with fulfilling those desires as your celebration, over a period of time, fulfilling those desires and celebrating those desires will let you know that whatever you desired at the beginning of the year, you already achieved it. Because you've already done it, right? So when you have celebrated your first mile, your second mile, and third mile, and fourth mile, by the time 10th mile was your destination, and you are already realized that there was nothing left for me to celebrate at the end of 10 mile, you are already there. So many people, they say, you achieved it, why are you not feeling so great about it? And you say, I've been already feeling great about it from the day I started it.
Yeah.
Yes. So it still looks very humble. It looks humble, and the guy feels it is great. For the others feel it is great, but the guy feels it was just a normal journey.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
So he breaks down every little achievement into a celebration.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So then now we have activities listed down. First is identify the type. Present scenarios like a trainer giving a lecture or a casual chat during a break. Ask participants or anybody, like this can be a personal questioning also, like you should imitate a situation where you are giving a lecture or a casual chat during a break. Ask somebody to classify them as communication or conversation. Like what are these two? A trainer giving a lecture.
Yeah, this is good for a person who wants to teach. and wants to practice. So if you want to practice, you should now, for example, there is a trainer giving a lecture. Okay, imagine what a trainer is giving a lecture, and
Identify.
how would that trainer give? So write it down. Take a topic, and can you act out how a trainer would going to talk on the subject? And then when you're going for a casual chat with somebody, how are you going to be there? So on the stage, how are you going to be there with the people having a coffee? How are you going to talk? So there you'll see there are two different versions of you dealing with two different kinds of situations. Same, then you have to go next is ask participants to classify that which one of that conversations that you had, okay, was a conversation in reality, or was it a communication? So out of all that talk that you were having, all the words that you use, your power words, which part of that was a conversation and which was a communication? So you need to know that these two were a integral part of the words that you were using, okay, and that was the power. And if you know the ingredients, you definitely know how to make the dish. And if you know how to make the dish in the way you want it, you are the greatest chef. So I think if you want to use the power of the words, you need to know the importance and the use of the ingredients. That's the communication and the conversation.
In every dish, if you know what the ingredients are, you'll make it
Absolutely.
a better version.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you put something spicy in a sweet dish.
No, but there are dishes with that also, and
That
people like
also,
it. Yeah.
which are good
So it
dishes,
depends on
but-
the chef. Where is he using? What is he using for?
Yeah, very true. Then second is role playing. Assign role for directive, reflective, or collaborative conversations. Then reflect on how each style changes the interaction.
Yeah, so this is all the part of a training system. Maybe when Rucha's batch and you all start your training, people who are joining the Zoom session
They
for,
can-
they can go through that.
Then third is communication versus conversation challenge. Divide participants into two groups, one to share ideas formally, the other informally, compare outcomes and engagement.
Yeah, so this is a good way of letting both know how one is just a communicator, and if he uses only communication, what are the challenges one faces. One who's only using conversation, what are the challenges that person faces. So they will both understand that it is not two separate. They are just one. Depending on the audience, depending on the person you're talking to, you'll have to use which one is necessary.
Yeah. Then at the end, it is about why this matters. So, first, to adapt our approach to fit the context.
Yeah,
Then, build deeper connections both personally and professionally.
absolutely.
Communicate with impact, the activities which we had given.
Yeah, and if you see, it matters because you have already set up a resolution.
Yeah.
It definitely matters, and only your thoughts that are now aligned with your resolution can be manifested in words. Okay, so it's very important that the next step of words, it should also be aligned with that particular thoughts. And how do you put those words into action? Is by making sure you have the ability of putting that into a conversation, building relationships, because your actions are going to require those relationships for you to get your work done. If you don't have those relationships around you, the actions will be really, really difficult. Yeah?
Yeah. So even I wanted to you to share that the idea behind, like you said, that desires, you should celebrate your small achievements like desires, and then imitate like a trainer doing this. All of these, for someone who is on that journey is new as well. So when you're starting, and then people will look that he's trying to do something, and when we are new into this, doing some activity like this, there is always a fear which comes in. Will they think I am crazy or what? This fear of
Yeah, but they are
do I
feeling.
look stupid because just going in front of the mirror, talking like this and that. I know that over a period of point, this is going to help me, but that fear, how to deal with that?
No, so you tell me, if you're trying to learn something new, like for example, you are learning flute. When I told you last time also,
Now
so
everybody is just
so when they're going to see you performing, it's not going to be perfect.
yeah.
But you never said it is perfect. You said you're learning.
I'm learning.
Exactly. So when you have a resolution, the month of January is not going to be, oh, yeah, you had a big resolution. Where is it? You're not even close. That is not what we are looking at, because it just started.
Yeah.
February, maybe it's not going to be like what you expect it should be in December. In December is what December will give. January will give me a reason to celebrate because what was meant for January, I have done that. I will celebrate that. If I did not do that, I have to repent in the month of February. I have to double that work up. I cannot celebrate if I have not achieved it. So every phase, maybe they will say, hey, this guy was planning for 10 lakh a month. The guy has even not made 10,000 and he's celebrating. But boy, I still imagine of making 10 lakh a month, and now I've made 10,000 on that intention, in that resolution I'm aligned with, and this 10,000 will definitely change next month. It might become 1 lakh. You understood? So I move to the next month with a new challenge. Even though there is a common challenge, I've broken down these into small challenges, and these small challenges are my modes of celebration. Because if I don't celebrate every moment, I will not be able to celebrate the last moment. I'll be dead by that time. You said. So no point. You imagine it's like a kid who failed all his exams, all his year. In the March exam, he again failed. Imagine. But the teacher said, okay, we will give you 100 out of 100 marks, leave it. We just feel like giving you. Will that boy go and celebrate?
No.
He will see, no, they have just given him, it's not worth it, right? Celebration is not at the mercy of somebody giving you something.
there is.
I've never seen a beggar whom I have given 10 rupees or 20 rupees celebrating. Wow. He just takes that 10 rupees, goes to another person, again tells, I want.
For it.
Maybe he's celebrating that evening when he has accumulated enough.
But not that moment.
Yeah, but
Could not
yeah,
able to
because
take a
there he's in a miserable state.
miserable state.
But I have seen people celebrating when they have those big bunch of flowers on the road and they are able to make one sale. They are so happy. You see, that is the sale, the transactionary thing gives you that reason to celebrate. He just sold one. Have you seen the game of football?
Yeah.
People, when they score one goal, how much do they celebrate?
They celebrate.
My
it's
goodness.
Like the end of the world. Like
Exactly.
the World Cup goal, and this is it.
But the game is still on.
Yeah. But
Now, when the team that they made 2 goals and they celebrated on 2 goals, and the other team made 3 goals and they have lost it, when you rewind and you watch the game, you realize why did they celebrate? They have lost the game. But they did not celebrate at the end of the game. They celebrated while they were playing the game.
amazing.
You understood? So celebrate every moment of yours that is in alignment with your resolution. That's your
So
purpose.
do not fear the outcome of the game.
Why should we fear? That's not what you're playing for. You're playing for actually the moment you are playing for.
We watch it rewind. Like we used
Yeah.
to play something. Hey, ज़्यादा उड़ी मत मार रहा.
बाद में, हाँ.
Like one match we played that time. Oh yeah, amazing. Then that match we sometimes lose. So the captain used to come. If this time you score and jump like that and shout like that, I'm going to punch you, bro. So I said, okay, I'll try to control, but it's not possible to control.
You see, this is exactly what I'm trying to say. Celebrate that moment.
Yeah.
Because that moment might not be the result or not even be the final thing outcome. So by the time you see, for example, you set up a resolution, which was maybe an impossible resolution, but you still set it up. Now you worked in January, February, March, April, and you are trying to come close to it. December end 31st, you're not able to meet that resolution. But till 30th December, you are enjoying now. You're celebrating.
Yeah. Who cares about the 31st?
Exactly. That one day where it did not happen. Maybe you were expecting 10 lakhs. You did not touch 10 lakhs. But 9.5 lakhs you are still enjoying now. You understand? People don't realize it. So we have to understand that every day should be a celebration, because every celebration shows that you have achieved something, and every achievement shows that you had a target that you accomplished. Every target accomplished shows that you are in a mode of act and action, and you have now built a good relationship with people who are helping you to achieve what you achieve.
So again, like we are nearing the end. So I just wanted your whole advice and or principles on how do we build relationships with it, or like a proper brief for it. Building a relationship, like we understood about the goals, then how it will help us to communicate and converse. And yes, in the relationship, at a point you have shared that this depending on the situation, communication should be there or conversation should be there. That is you how you use
So
it.
I think, Dhruv, we have to understand the importance of words, the power of
The
words.
power of
Imagine a girl and a boy.
Mm.
They like each other, but they never tell each other that I love you.
why
Now just imagine. They never say. They say, oh, you should understand. You should understand.
there will be no
Both of them,
relationship.
exactly. Half of the world is, we're living with broken hearts because they never told the other person that they loved each
People will
other.
tell, right? It's
No,
very
that's what. Imagine if they don't say that. They have so
no,
many
but
fears,
everybody would be just
right? So love needs even those people who cannot speak.
they will
Imagine
not
a girl and a boy who cannot speak.
they will do like something like this or
They
something.
will still communicate, yes or no? They will still bring flower, roses, something. Words go beyond your understanding, and hence understanding can lead to assumptions. Understanding can lead to misinterpretations, but words clarify all that.
Words go beyond our understanding.
Yes, beyond
We
your assumptions,
understand what
because
they-
whatever you understand is without words, right? You're just imagination. It's
Yeah.
in the process of thoughts, and thoughts can create any imagination. It can create any assumption, but once spoken,
Hmm.
thought's journey is over.
over.
So we always say that when you want to end the journey of thoughts, you speak words. That's what we do in therapy. In psychotherapy, we let the person speak, because once this person speaks,
Mm.
that's the death of the thought that was troubling it.
Yeah.
You understood? So we always say, speak, speak, speak.
Mm.
And so with every speech, your thought is gone.
Mm.
So that's the power of words.
So that is how you complete the cycle of
Yeah.
by putting it into a
Words.
speech.
Yeah. And then how to put it is also important. Okay, you need to know that how you're going to put it, which style you're going to put it, how it depends on the person in front, and based on that you have to be able to deliver yours.
Yeah.
Right?
So that was it from my side. If there are any questions, we can take any questions here or online. Okay, no questions. So now we'll have that conclusion from your end. That can you just give us a conclusion of out of all of this, summary to take back.
I think the summary is, first watch your intention, right? And that intention should align with the resolution you had this year. Then you should watch your thoughts that are born from this intention. Then the words that will come out because of those thoughts. And then, like a good artist, you choreograph your words so that they can lead you to the action. That is the next one that's going to follow. Right? So as we go into one step after the other to achieve our resolution and become perfect in making sure that whatever we desire can be manifested, you need to know these are all one step at the time is going to manifest. If A doesn't manifest B, then B will not exist. If B doesn't manifest C, C will not exist. So it's the one previous to that that will manifest the other one. So I think the take-home message is, watch your words, watch it closely, use your words, use them very consciously, okay, and make sure that you feed yourself with good words so that only good words come out from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and teaching us how the choreography of the words work. And so that was it for today. We'll be joining back again with the episode 5, which is the most important one. It is said, not most, but you can say the ones where the words have been choreographed, and now we'll be leading into action.
Yes.
So I'll see you there. And then when we come back with action, I think it is going to be an interesting one. Like now all the talk is done.
Yeah.
Now it's about the time to act
Yeah. So now it's cameras,
and
action.
Okay, so bye bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.